Hi guys, since I'm just starting out, please do me a favor and hit the subscribe, like, and YouTube bell buttons. Thank you.
Though this channel is about the devil, we couldn't talk about the devil without first talking about God.
Who is God? Today we're going to talk about God. While some may say they are agnostic or atheist, the reality is that we all have souls and all souls originate from God. First, it is important to know that God is beyond our explanation or comprehension. In the Bible, he is sometimes referred to as the name that is above all names, higher than any other, or the most holy one. All of these titles are different ways of saying that his being is beyond our comprehension. Our human mind can't capture or comprehend him. Verses in the Bible that talk about this include Job 36:26 and Isaiah 55:8-9. This fact should cause us to be humble before him, and without humility, an aspect of holiness, no one can see him. On a side note, imagine if you were king or queen of the universe. What kind of person would you want visiting you in your courtroom? I would bet you would only accept a visitor who was humble. Second, God is the extremity of both good and evil. What does that mean? That means God is more good than you can possibly imagine, but he can also be harsher than the devil. So what exactly does that mean? Well, consider that he is kinder than all the good acts of man combined. We see this by looking at Jesus' miracles, of bringing the dead back to life, for example. But on the other hand, God destroyed the entire city of Nineveh after sending the prophet Jonah to convince them to repent. Note that in this story, God did not destroy the city before sending a prophet to warn them, proving that he is still good and still just, which we will talk about next.
Third, God is a righteous judge. God is an impartial judge, and ultimately he fills his courtroom judging the earth, which he does all the time, contrary to popular belief. Many people think that God is love, and yes, if we were able to see him physically, we would see his heart is pure love. But this is not his primary attribute. His primary attribute is justice, and he judges every creature on the earth, even down to the animals, according to his standard, which is his son Jesus. This may run contrary to the way we would like to think, because it is confrontational in nature. It is easy to think God is love, and that makes everything okay, but the reality is quite different. He is so just, he takes into consideration even the smallest acts of kindness, selfless giving, and words we speak, and he also takes note when we don't do these things, which is why he says, I desire mercy and not sacrifice. This becomes very important when we want to consider how to get his attention, which we will talk about in another video. If God is judge, what law does he use to judge? The whole Bible. Did you know that all of God's law in the Bible is wrapped into his 10 Commandments? If you study the 10 Commandments very closely, you will see it is true. Now, having a law doesn't mean that God doesn't take into consideration human suffering or all the aspects of a person's life. If he didn't, he wouldn't be a just judge. He is able to see into the innermost place of a person to see their true intent and motives. God knows exactly what every person goes through. And finally, since it is impossible to talk about God without talking about the devil, I will. So stay tuned for the next video.